Once again, we are back on Boond Soch ki Tea Talk Train of Thought, the series of an episode with Lieutenant Colonel Anjan Sinha. Sir, welcome
Thank you very much,
to this episode. We have seen the journey of an Lieutenant Colonel Anjan Sinha. It's an amazing journey. Right from school, like where you're on the desk, you're written, I'm going to be an officer. And it was committed, it was focused. And after schooling, he just appeared for UPSC examination, cleared that, and he was part of an NDA. उसके बाद में I think he went ahead, he did his management, science, engineering, law, and PhD. Also a great role model for all the Tea Talk audience over there. So now in this episode, we would like to know from you, what are the services where one can join the armed forces?
So, armed forces, to be very honest about, it comprises of, when we talk of Indian military, it comprises of Indian Navy, Indian Army and Indian Air Force. The primary role, when we discuss with the audience, the primary role for all these services, one should aspire to become an officer in all the three services. If not officer, then it comes the junior commissioned officer. And आपके काफ़ी लोगों के लिए जो टी टॉक से मोटिवेटेड होते हैं, जो लोग सर्विसेज में आना चाहते हैं, जो फौज में जाना चाहते हैं, जिनके अंदर जुनून है कि हमें फौज में ही जाना है, एंड दे फील कि हमें कैसे जाना है, बट दे आर नॉट अवेयर ऑफ इट. तो उनके लिए हम अदर रैंक्स की एनरोलमेंट भी होती है, जो कि आर्मी में तो हर डिस्ट्रिक्ट में एक रिक्रूटमेंट ऑफिस है. एंड आई एम श्योर जो बच्चे 12वीं क्लास की जो इज द मिनिमम बेसिक स्टैंडर्ड, एंड फ्रॉम रीजनल पीपल दोज हु गो टू द रिस्पेक्टिव रीजनल सेंटर्स, दे आर सपोज्ड टू बी गुड एज फार एज द फिजिकल फिटनेस इज कंसर्न. उनका फिजिकल फिटनेस एट पार रिक्विजिट होना ही चाहिए, एंड एट द सेम टाइम दे आर आल्सो रिक्वायर्ड टू क्लियर द रिटन एग्जामिनेशन, which is very, very mandatory. Whereas for the Air Force soldiers and naval soldiers, they are the people who are, if you see, when we get the student who gets around 70 to 80% marks in class 11th, 12th, and they do not make it to NDA and otherwise cannot commission officers after 12th, and somehow they prefer to come to the Air Force soldiers, even naval soldiers. Competition is tough. Competition is tough. So उनके लिए maths and English essential है, and that's how it is. But at the same time, when we talk of to becoming commissioned officer, it is imperative that they should have maths and science. And in fact, maths is very important as far as Air Force and Navy is concerned, and essentially very, very important again in Army too, which is going to make it the mandatory. ये तो है ही है sir. At the same time, if someone is not able to make it through, let's say, NCC entry or NDA entry, then we have postgraduate entries. Now, postgraduate entries are from any of the streams. If someone is engineer, then he can get into through technical entry. So we have a communication engineer in the army. It is required by signals. We have production mechanical to the core of EME, the core I belong to, and the civil engineers. The primarily we have an engineer essential who makes bridges, who makes fortified bunkers at the border. Then you have doctors. For parallel to ND, we have something called FMC, Armed Forces Medical College. People they are aware of it. The top 20 people go there, but at the same time, if someone who's not ready to FMC, they do their MBBS outside, BDS outside, get again back into the armed forces through the lateral entry. As a doctor, as a medico in Army, Navy and Air Force, as a dentist, they are again commissioned officers. So even an architect, there is a vacancy for a couple of architects in the Corps of Engineers, those who design buildings. Even for naval, there are many vacancies for architect of naval designing.
I see.
So we take any profession for that matter. It is that profession has got an opening in the armed forces. Through that is CDS entry, we call it. CDS entry. And when we talk of JCOs, I'm sure not many people who study Sanskrit these days. But yes, it is the armed forces and army, a person who is graduated in Sanskrit and he is qualified to apply for Panditji. We have a Sarvdharm concept. That is in a unit. We don't have only mandir. We have Maulvis, we have Sikh Gurus, we have so Sarvdharm concept in army. Any military station you will find a single place where everybody can go and worship. And there are vacancies for Maulvis, there are vacancies for Gurujis, and there are vacancies for Panditji. So where essentially you find even someone, we find a person who's got a diploma / degree in catering. He finds an equivalent entry as a JCO.
I see.
In the army, that is service corps. And we have large number of people coming in as junior commissioned officers, and they are doing
What
good.
is an age limit?
Age limits are for, yes, if somebody is young enough, बच्चों के लिए 16 to 19 is for NDA, and similar to even जो जवान भर्ती होना चाहता है उसकी उम्र भी 16 से 18 साल तक होनी चाहिए.
Okay.
एनडीए एंट्री हम कहें या वो है 19 साल तक खत्म हो जाती है. फिर ग्रेजुएशन एंट्री आपकी शुरू होती है 19.5 से 20, 21 से 22 तक.
Okay.
19.5 से 22 तक की होती है. फिर डॉक्टर्स के लिए थोड़ा सा ज्यादा है. टेक्निकल्स के लिए जो इंजीनियरिंग करके आते हैं, कुछ मास्टर्स भी करके आते हैं, कुछ जॉब भी करके आते हैं बाहर, फॉर देम द एज इज टिल 23. That 23 you can get into academy.
Okay.
So आप commission officer around 24 साढ़े 24 तक आप बन जाते हैं. And I have seen, and there are avenues in the senses I talked about. Armed Forces is the only organization in the world today, sir. It gives an opportunity to its own people, own JCOs and own other rank people to come and compete and become an officer. उनको पूरा मौका दिया जाता है जो जवान भर्ती होके आते हैं कि आप थोड़ी इंग्लिश भी सीख लीजिए, थोड़ा पढ़ाई में उसका अगर एप्टीट्यूड अच्छा है, वो कुछ करना चाहता है, he gets an opportunity to study, clear exams, and again वो ACC एंट्री या SL कमीशन हम कहते हैं या स्पेशल कमीशन ऑफिसर्स जो होते हैं, तो दे कम एंड अगेन बिकम ए कमीशन ऑफिसर. ये आर्मी में भी है, एयरफोर्स में भी है और नेवी में भी.
कई बार ऐसा होता है लाइक बहुत जन को शौक रहता है आर्म फोर्स में जाने का, बट इनिशियल स्टेज में उनका अपना कैरियर जो बनाते हैं, मे बी एट द एज ऑफ 30 और 33 और 35, while they are working also, is there any possibility of getting into armed forces?
Yes sir, yes sir. But it may not be regular, but there are two opportunities which is coming up. First I'll talk about जिसने अपने कैरियर बना लिया और आर्मी में नहीं आ पाया. So till the age he attains age of 42 years of age,
Okay.
he has gotten chance to come and join the territorial army.
Okay.
Not many people are aware of it. आप टेरिटोरियल आर्मी ज्वाइन कीजिए, आप जो प्रोफेशन आप कर रहे हैं वो भी कीजिए, और साल के 2 महीने आके आप यूनिफॉर्म पहनिए और आप फौज का काम कीजिए.
Okay.
So there you get a satisfaction of being a professional yourself and even serve the country wherever you feel like.
Right.
Now coming the another thing which I shared with you last time, the tour on duty concept.
Tour on duty, yeah.
So we are allowing professionals now. I'm very sure very shortly this will come up. People are being allowed to come and join the forces for 2 to 3 years. Come, follow your passion, live your passion, and then again go back to your place where you actually belong to or which you want to do it.
Oh, I see. Now, in fact, for many of the management students, I think who are not aware of, maybe like if you are being part of an organization also after doing an MBA, working some of an organization, and if still there is a passion of getting into an armed forces, maybe there is a way like what one can get into an armed forces. The opportunities are there up to the age of 42, where you can work in an organization, take a sabbatical leave, come and join the armed forces, and then if you like you can continue, or else you can go back to your profession in the civil aspects. So I think it's a great story of Lieutenant Colonel Anjan Sinha, what we have seen in terms of his academic career, that inspires every one of us. I'm sure like the kind of an qualification to what he had in terms of an science, in terms of an engineering, law and PhD, and still sir abhi bhi kuch dil मांगे more where you want to.
Sir, पढ़ाई तो definitely it was my forte, and as the luck would have it, I never thought of it. I joined NDA like many of us, and we thought that academic is this. अब उसके बाद पढ़ाई नहीं. But you'd be surprised, sir. Armed Forces is the only organization, and I'm sure it can beat any other organization in the world over. It has got the most academically qualified number of officers as an organization.
I see.
Even the Infosys or TCS, or if we talk of any competitive corporate in the world, none of the organizations can ever match the competitiveness of the armed forces officers. It is because we are trained first and we are given an opportunity to learn. In my case, yes, I was slightly better placed in the sense is the moment I finished, I took permission to do a part-time MBA.
Nice.
So I finished my MBA before I could actually go for my degree engineering course. So since I wanted to do it, the moment I finished my MBA, I know I had to do something. I took sabbatical, did masters in science, got posted to a place where I could pursue law. The college was very near to my house. I took permission. I attended morning classes. So, and that's how. And in another station, I got permission to do evening classes law.
Correct.
That helped me to take a degree in management.
Correct.
After doing masters in management, I wanted to do PhD. Took a part-time PhD. It took me 8 years almost to do the PhD, and that's where since I want to do it seriously, I took another 3 months leave to join IIM Ahmedabad to learn about what PhD is all about.
Correct.
So, to my journey is totally, it is not everybody can do it, but since I was passionate, I was lucky to be placed under my commanding officers were good. They gave me permission, but at the same time, when I say our organization allows people to study. And it is the most important facet of an armed forces officer. You have to be qualified.
Right.
You cannot be. We may say that they are generalist, but you got to be specialist.
Yeah, good.
And we are taught about it. And every equipment, when you talk about any officer, if you find a general officer, you would find in his service profile he would have done 7 to 8 courses, which are equivalent to much more what we see in the corporate. So he is competent and qualified enough.
Correct.
That much I can assure you. And at the same time, कोई फौज में ये सोच के ना आए कि पढ़ना नहीं पड़ता है. बहुत पढ़ना पड़ता है, पढ़ाई तो करनी पड़ती है और सुबह उठ के फिर भागना भी पड़ता है.
सर, आपने इतना जो क्वालिफिकेशन सब किया है, तो ये क्वालिफिकेशन आपने उसके एप्लीकेशन कैसा होगा, कभी उसके बारे में सोचा था?
सर, टू बी वेरी ऑनेस्टली, मैं पढ़ना चाहता था और इनकी एप्लीकेशंस यस मैंने सोची थी. अगर आप देखेंगे कि या कोई भी जो हमारे आज सुनने वाले हैं, पीपल वुड से दैट ही हैज गॉट PhD इन मैनेजमेंट, दैट टू इन एक्सक्लूसिव एविएशन साइबर सिक्योरिटी. नॉट मेनी पीपल इन द कंट्री टुडे हैव दैट काइंड ऑफ thesis to himself, with a degree in law and with a degree in forensic science. And very true, sir, what happens is मैं पटना तो चला गया, but at the same time I am from army aviation, I mentioned, sir. And there is where aviation was, if you recollect my previous this thing, I wanted to be a pilot.
Correct.
First. And then we joined, the destiny got me into the army. And somehow in series of my trainings with the armed forces, accident investigation was my forte. And this is where I learned, as a country we do not have a very good accident investigators, and neither do we have a good infrastructure, nor do we have a very qualified and competent people to do it. And with aviation industry and the India coming up today, so all my studies, so whether I take it my study of management, my PhD, my masters in forensics, makes me ineligible. And it was my dream, it is still my dream, when I said दिल मांगे मोर, कि मैं आज भी ये इच्छा रखता हूँ कि हमारी कंट्री में जिस तरह से हम यूरोपियन वीडियोस एंड यूरोपियन एक्सीडेंट इन्वेस्टिगेशंस देखते हैं या उनकी FBI की हम देखते हैं, वी शुड बी इक्वली प्रोफेशनल इनफ टू हैव एन एडिक्वेट ट्रेनिंग एस्टैब्लिशमेंट, टू क्रिएट एन एडिक्वेट इंफ्रास्ट्रक्चर, to create that kind of analytical resources, team to do a good accident investigation. If you recall, sir, in history we have MH370 एक हादसा हुआ था, और ऐसे भी हादसे हुए थे, जहाज उड़े, और आज के युग में हम कहीं नहीं बता सकते कि वो कहाँ गए. Although we have best people in the globe to do it, but yes, how many Indians? So एक ये मेरी दिल्ली तमन्ना रह जाती है, और ये मैं आपके एपिसोड के थ्रू I take this opportunity to bring out to the audience. I am sure a lot of people would be working on this direction. तो कहीं ना कहीं मैं चाहूंगा कि मुझे इस तरह का एक मौका मिले, तो जो भी मैंने पढ़ाई की है कहीं ना कहीं वो बहुत अच्छी तरीके से यूज हो पाए.
सर, आई एम श्योर लाइक जिस लगन से और जिस आपने इंटरेस्ट के साथ में ये जो क्वालिफिकेशन पाई हुई है, क्वालिफिकेशन कभी वेस्ट नहीं जाती. उसका कहाँ ना कहाँ एप्लीकेशन आज नहीं तो कल कहाँ ना कहाँ आपको उसका जरूर उसका फल मिलेगा. आई एम श्योर आपके मन में जो भी इच्छा है, जो आपको करना है, जिस क्षेत्र में आपको जाना है, आई एम श्योर गॉड इज देयर, ही विल टेक केयर ऑफ द थिंग्स. बट जो लगन है, आप जो इंस्पिरेशन, इन कितने टारगेट टी-टॉक टारगेट ऑडियंस के लिए आप इतने बड़े इंस्पिरेशन हो, आज भी लाइक इतनी क्वालिफिकेशन पाने के बावजूद भी आप इतनी क्षमता रखते हो कि नेक्स्ट लेवल पे जाके आप कुछ करने की आप और भी तमन्ना रखते हो. आई थिंक सैल्यूट टू लेफ्टिनेंट कर्नल अंजन सिन्हा. दो आई थिंक आर्मी टचेस आवर हार्ट, बट ये मंच है टी-टॉक का, एक बूंद सोच की, जहाँ पे ऐसे एक्सपर्ट्स आते हैं. लाइक इफ आई एम श्योर इट्स इंस्पायरिंग एंड द अमेजिंग जर्नी ऑफ अ लेफ्टिनेंट कर्नल अंजन सिन्हा, अ लॉट ऑफ इंस्पिरेशंस फॉर ऑल ऑफ अस. In this episode, we have got a real good insight about an armed forces and as a person, the kind of an aptitude if you're having, you can really go ahead with your knowledge, with gaining more and more like experience. I'm sure like this Lieutenant Colonel Anjan Sinha is a role model for most of us, and he has shown the way to us how we need to get entry into an armed forces and what are the qualifications which are there and what are the opportunities which are required. If you like Lieutenant Colonel Anjan Sinha's episode, just go to www.ttalk.net. Subscribe and like the channel as much as you can, and to catch up with Lieutenant Colonel Anjan Sinha, just stay tuned to Tea Talk with Boond Soch for next episode with Lieutenant Colonel Dr. Anjan Sinha. So thank you very much for being part of this.
Thank you,
Thank you very much.
Thank you.